Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session on security testing with Fiddler Cafe, organized by Colombo Quality Camp, which is a bunch of enthusiasts working towards to improve the quality of the software products and processors while filling the gap between software products, filling the gap between software testers and developers. I guess you all can see my screen. Right. So for future reference, we will be recording today's session. And if you have any questions regarding the content that I'm presenting you today, you can just post them in the Teams chat. Right. So let me start recording first. Yeah. So this is my agenda today. So I'll be covering what is security testing, importance of security testing, and OWASP top 10, and then why I use Fiddler for security testing, and some myths about security testing, and finally, few next steps for you to follow. Right, then let's start with what is security testing. Right, so as software testers, we all know that in normal functional testing, we ensure that our software work according to the specified requirements. And this ensures our customers that their software will perform according to the given requirement. And when it comes to security testing, it is just a natural extension of negative testing, which focuses on unacceptable inputs. And these inputs are likely to create significant failure with regard to the given requirements in the product under test. And this further evaluates security elements such as confidentiality, integrity, authenticity, vulnerability, and continuity. Okay, then let's say what is the importance of security testing. So for years, we have been hearing news stories highlighting the importance of security testing. So one such case is in year 2016, Yahoo confirmed a data breach about 500 million credentials, which dated back to 4 years. And further, company urged their users to change their credentials and even the security question. Due to this incident, Yahoo's customers lost their faith in the company, and Security Exchange Commission asked Yahoo to pay around $35 million as a penalty. And further, Yahoo paid around $85 million to their users as a settlement fee. Another such case is in year 2011, Sony PlayStation Network got hacked. So the total cost was estimated to $171 million. And there, hackers leaked secure data of the employees and the security numbers and some salaries of top executives, along with some movie scripts of unreleased movies at that time, and some contact details of the top actors. So many producers left Sony to its competitors. So the magnitude of these organizations and the losses they bore still make it so relevant why we should study security testing. Right. Then let's top 10 is a very commonly used term. So this is just a standard awareness document created by Open Web Application Security Project, ranking and giving recommendations to the most critical top 10 vulnerabilities. And this is based on the census data that they collect from the security experts around the world. And here in this list, I have provided the latest list for the year 2021, which got finalized in last week. And global, this is recognized as, if you use this top 10, OWASP top 10, it is recommended that you can come up with a secure code. You can change the software development cycle of your organization, give a secure code from the start. So in my today's demonstration, I'll show how to validate few of these vulnerabilities using Fiddler Classic. Right. Then let's see why I use Fiddler Classic for security testing. So we all know Fiddler's objective is to debug any problems with the HTTP traffic between your computer and the network. So I have been using Fiddler to manipulate web requests and responses and examine them for some time. So I have since I had prior experiences with the tool, I have found this as one of the easiest tools to get comfortable with and fastest to just go from glancing over the UI to create some effective results. So I think Fiddler is a very simple and an effective tool to start security testing with. But when you develop a threat model and once you get a thorough knowledge of how to do security testing with by using a tool like Fiddler, and when you get a better understanding of how a successful attack looks like, of course, then you can start automating your test by developing scripted checks or tests that can be run as a part of your daily delivery pipeline by using a tool like web set proxy. Because if you rely on an automated scanning tool to do the automation, do the security testing from the very beginning of your security testing process, quickly it will become overwhelming for you because you do not know what is actually happened behind a vulnerability or a security attack. Right. Then let's move to the demo. So in my demo, I'll show how to assess a few of the vulnerabilities raised by OWASP organization. First of all, you have to download Fiddler Classic from their official website. Then you have to install it. Then its root certificate should be trusted. So this allows Fiddler to decrypt. This allows Fiddler to decrypt your traffic. And by doing this, you provide an SSL proxy that will capture encrypted traffic as well. And then you have to configure your request headers. You can get this data by launching your application, the application that you want to monitor the traffic. You can get those data by launching that application in your browser. So in today's demonstration, I'll be using two web applications. One is OWASP Use Shop, and other one is OpenTrust. So first I'm going to use OWASP Use Shop. So let me launch that app in the browser. This is the application, and first of all, I have to open the DevTools. And then I have to go to the network tab. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reload this page. To pick a request from the live traffic section, and I'm going to scroll down until I find the request headers. So under request headers, you can find the host. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to go back to Fiddler. So here I'm going to let's see. You have to go to filter tab and you have to enable use filters. And then you have to set show only the following hosts in the second dropdown. And here you can paste the host name that you have copied. And then you can press tab, then Fiddler will save the host name. So let me launch the web application and see whether Fiddler is capturing traffic. Let me go back. Yeah, so it has started to capture the traffic from OWASP tool shop. Yeah. So the first assessment that I'm going to do is parameter tampering. So in parameter tampering, what happens is manipulated parameters are exchanged between the client and the server to modify the application data, such as credentials, user permissions, quantities, and etc. Right. To demonstrate this vulnerability, I'm going to use the user registration functionality. So I'm going to go to user registration screen. Right. So I'm going to register a new user. As you all can see, I have to fill all. So I'm going to give a random email ID. The password. I'm going to repeat the password. So this drop down, I'm going to select a security question. Still, I can't register the user because I haven't provided a security answer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a security answer. And I'm going to click on this register button. Right. And I'm going to go back to Fiddler. I'm going to find the request related to user registration. This is it. And I'm going to drag it to Composer tab. And this time I'm going to execute the same request for a different user. This time I'm not going to pass any value to security answer. I'm going to execute. So once I execute it, I got a new request in this live traffic section. It's this one. So that means I was able to hit the user registration request even without passing any value to the security answer for a new user. That means our user registration functionality in OWASP Shop is vulnerable for parameter tampering. So if when I execute this request, if I got unsuccessful header other than 200, it means the user registration functionality is immune to this parameter tampering vulnerability. So I'll repeat what I did. What I did was I registered the user from the front end, and I selected the same request from the live traffic section in the Fiddler. I just drag it to the Composer tab. When you drag a request to Composer tab, it gets filled with raw data. Then what I did was I changed the email ID to a different user because I have to register user with a new email ID. I changed the email ID, and then instead of passing any value for the security answer, I just passed a null value. That means I can tamper the parameters. So I will give you another example to make this more clear. Let's say your client is an e-commerce site, and there is an item priced for $100. and the shipping cost is $10. And in the order confirmation request, both item price and the shipping cost are passed as parameters. But the user can tamper this shipping cost to minus $99. So if she could execute the request successfully, that means she can buy that item, which was originally priced at $100 for just $1. So just try to imagine the loss that could bring to your customer or your client. So to avoid parameter tampering, always incoming parameter should be validated. Right. Then I think we can move to second assessment, which is authentication and session management. So in authentication and session management, what happens is the application allows to people to access secure data without forcing them to log in first. This is like, let's take your email account. Your email service provider allows a stranger to access your emails and read the email. So that should not be, that should not be granted. Right. So I'm going to use my other application to demonstrate this vulnerability. So let me configure the filter first. So this open cart web application, I have hosted it in my local machine. So I have to filter Fiddler's filter to capture the traffic from local. So let me do it. Going to clear first traffic. Right. So this is the open cart application. So let me see whether Fiddler captures traffic from the local host. Yes, it has started to capture traffic. Right. So this time I'm going to log into OpenCart application as an admin user. Right. So after logging into the system as admin, I'm going to access catalog. And from catalog, I'm going to select recurring profile. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out from the system. I'm going to go back to Fiddler, find the request related to accessing recurring files. So this is it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reissue this request. Though I have already logged out from the system, I'm going to see whether I can access the recurring file through Fiddler. Can just right click on the request and select replay. And then you can select reissue unconditionally. By selecting reissue unconditionally, what happens is Fiddler execute the request even though the server side has changed. Yeah, so this is the record which is related to the latest request that I executed. So if we open in this inspector, we can see I have got a success response, which means even though I have logged out from the system, I can access recurring files, which means this application is vulnerable for authentication and session management. So if the application is immune, you won't get a success response. Instead, you will get error header like 401 saying unauthorized. Right. So I'll give you another example to make this more clearer. Let's say you are going to access your bank application from a public computer, and you do the transactions and you leave the machine without logging in. Just you're going to just close the browser and leave the machine. And some stranger comes back to the same machine and open the web browser, and he can access your account even without logging to the system because your banking application has poor session management. That is another example for this authentication and session management vulnerability. Right. Then we can move to our third assessment, which is about missing functional level access control. So what happens here is your browser decide what data to be shown, what to be hide, and what to be read only, and not doing the same checks when making changes. Right. So last time I logged into OpenPath application as the admin user, and this time I'm going to log into the application as the regular user. Let me do that. Yeah. So once when I log into the system as regular user, I do not get that much of options when I had when I log into the system as admin. I only have a catalog, and on the catalog I can only access categories. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go back to Fiddler. Going to pick a request related to regular user and open that in Composer. And then I'm going to copy regular users user token. You guys can copy even the even authorization header if your request is passing authorization header. So to me, I'm copying this user token. So I'm copying the user token of regular user. I'm going back to a request related to admin user. So admin user accessed recurring file. So I'm going to pick that request. I'm going to open that in Composer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove min users user token. Instead, I'm going to paste my regular users user token there. And I'm going to execute the same request. Again, I got a success response, which means our application is vulnerable for missing functional level access control as well. So what I did was I accessed recurring files with regular users token ID. So those are the assessments that I plan to do using Fiddler Classic. Apart from assessing those vulnerabilities, Fiddler is good at visualizing some data related to security information. So one such functionality of Fiddler is you can see the security header details, where the security headers are missing and where they are present. You can simply do it by selecting any column that you prefer from the live traffic section and right click on it. Then select customize columns. And from this collection, you can select miscellaneous. And then from this field name drop down, you can select security headers. And you can give any preferred name to column title and just add it. Once you add it, that column gets populated here. So this is it. So let me remove the filter and load some other applications to show you how it captures the security headers and disable it using filters. What I'm going to do is I'm going to access Yahoo application. Then I'm going to go back to Fiddler. going to stop capturing. So here you can see how many headers are missing in Yahoo. So Yahoo is missing CSP, which is Content Security Provide Policy, and XSP protectors, some etc. Right. And Fiddler is supported with few extensions as well. Some are paid and some are free. So Watcher is one such free extension which we can use for security assessment. So what you have to do is you can just download and install it. What Watcher does is it can observe the interaction between your application and the web browser. And it points out all the potential vulnerabilities. And since the Watcher passively audits the web application, you can use Watcher for production environment as well. So once you install it, that this Watcher tab get enabled here. And when you go inside, you can find three tabs. First one is configuration. We just have to enable Watcher to start capturing the potential vulnerabilities. And here you can give any domain you prefer. I mean, if you want to capture vulnerabilities from a certain domain, you can just mention it here. And once you go to checks, it lists all the checks that Watcher does. And additionally, it maps the checks with the compliance standard compliances. Yeah. And when you go to results tab, you can see the vulnerabilities that Watcher has recorded. And further, it categorizes those vulnerabilities according to the severity. So we have low, medium, information, high categorized vulnerabilities. And you can filter these vulnerabilities and you can just remove, and even you can export these as XML to your backlog. Yeah, so those are the vulnerability assessments and the other particular functions that I plan to demonstrate you today. Let's go back to our PPT. Yeah, so our next topic is myths and facts about security testing. So some people disappointingly believe that small companies do not need to do security checks, and they don't think that their secure data can be accessed by some third-party people. So regardless of the size of the company or the business, every business should do complete security checks. We should not compromise on it. And again, some people believe that there is no return on investment in security testing, but it is not. By doing security testing, it finds out the areas to improve and how to reduce the downtime. And again, some people believe that only security test experts can do security testing. Now, you should not misunderstand this. It is always good, and it is really definitely it's good to have cybersecurity experts, but we always don't get that luxury to have dedicated security resources in our project. So it is far better if you can contribute to find those security concerns in your project, even by doing the baby steps that I demonstrated you today using Fiddler testing. And some people believe that automated security testing is better than manual security testing. So many organizations use a blend of this because both of them have values. Only people can find ways to break your systems, and automation helps us to make our life more comfortable. I mean, for testers' life more comfortable. Right. Okay. Then I have few suggestions for you if you are willing to excel more about security testing. So if you do not like the cluttered UI of Fiddler Classic, you can opt to Fiddler Everywhere, which is a paid tool, but still you can use their trial version, which is valid for 30 days. And it has a better UI. And you can do all three assessments that I demonstrated you using this Fiddler everywhere as well. But all the other features are not available in Fiddler everywhere yet, but soon they will be available. And if you want to know more about Fiddler and what are the other test types that you can do with Fiddler, you can follow their documentation. And if you want to become, when you become more, when you become more fluent in security testing, and when you get to know more about security testing, you can go for a tool like Burp Suite or OWASP, set that up. And if you want to know about security vulnerabilities and how these attacks look like, and if you want to try out these vulnerability assessment, of course, you can follow OWASP documentation. They have a very rich documentation, and even you can use this OWASP Use shop as their test reference. And you can even do ISTQB expert examination for security testing if you want to become an expert in this field. Yeah, so I think with that we can move to our Q&A session.
Thanks, Delani, for that very informative session. I learned a lot. I'm sure the others did too. You guys can hear me, right? Just to be sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So hi guys, my name is Darshini and I'll be moderating the Q&A session for you all today. So if you guys have any questions in regards to Fiddler or security testing, do put it in the chat and we'll get to them. So let's actually look at some of the questions that we have already. So the first question, Thilani, is it safe to trust Fiddler root certificate?
Yeah, the thing is, you should not trust any third-party certificates, but even many of the Fiddler users are worried that if you trust the Fiddler certificate, even some strangers can use, they can intercept your traffic using the same certificate. They believe that all the users share the same certificate, but fear not. Fiddler generates a separate root certificate for each user and per each machine. So you can trust Fiddler certificate.
Okay, I think that should have answered their question. And the next question is, sometimes Fiddler does not allow loading some web application. Why is it?
Yeah, so once you launch Fiddler and then if you launch a website, what happens is that requests are going to Fiddler proxy. Sometimes Fiddler doesn't allow you to use, can't use those websites. Fiddler blocks them, proxy blocks them. So either you can switch off Fiddler or else you can just bypass them. I think I can show it to you now. Go back to Fiddler. So you can just go to tools, and I think it's available in options. HTTP, no, not here. Yeah, in connections here, you can mention the web URL that you want to bypass and just you can save it. That will do the trick for you.
Oh, nice. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. What if the HTTP request responses are compressed? Will Fiddler decompress automatically?
Yeah, Fiddler can decompress the compressed responses. You can see those data if you go to Inspector tab. Let me show you. Normally under miscellaneous, you can see those data as well, whether those requests are compressed or not. And you can see the methods that Fiddler used to decompress them under miscellaneous.
Right. Cool. And the next question we have is Fiddler open source or is it a paid tool?
Yeah. So when it comes to Fiddler Classic, it's a open. I mean, it's a free tool. You can just download it from their official website. But recently they have introduced their Fiddler everywhere as well, which used to be a free tool, but recently they have decided to make it a paid tool. And still you can buy that. I mean, you can use that trial version, which is valid for 30 days. You can do the same assessment as I mentioned earlier, but all the uh, functionalities that you can do, I mean, you can use in Fiddler Classic is not available in Fiddler everywhere yet. It will take some time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What is the difference between, again, it's what is the
Yeah.
difference between Fiddler Classic and Fiddler Everywhere?
Yeah, the Fiddler everywhere is a paid version. The Again, you have a better UI in Fiddler everywhere, but you have a cluttered UI in Fiddler Classic. But in the functionalities perspective, I think Fiddler Classic has more. I mean, you can use Fiddler Classic to do different types of testing than Fiddler everywhere. But soon they will available those functionalities in Fiddler as well. But again, it's a paid tool.
Okay, cool. Um, so the last question we have right now is this particular testing can be done from API tests as well. What makes what makes
Yeah,
so
yeah. You
what
can
makes it
do,
different with
yeah, you can do
Fiddler?
these types of testing using any other API tester like Postman, or what we do is we intercept the traffic even by using Fiddler or any other API tool. So of course, you can use other API tool to do these tests as well. The important thing is you should know what is you are doing, what is the vulnerabilities about, and how to access those. So you can use any API tool to do these assessment. Yeah.
Okay, guys, if you have any more questions, you guys can put it in the chat, or else we can actually round up. Um, I think that's about it, Tilani. Thank you very much again for this very informative session. And we'll be uploading the session on YouTube soon, probably in a week-ish. So thanks, guys, for joining in, and see you soon.
Yeah. Thank you, Darshi, and thank you all for joining for today's session.